Welcome, everyone, to Brand Development. My name is Rachel Gerlach. I am the founder of Six Figure Nutritionist. I'm also the owner and founder of Nutrition Works, now rebranded, talk about branding, as Whole Woman Health. And we're going to talk about brand development. So, first and foremost, I want to let you all know why I did this and why I'm qualified to do this, right? So I have spent the last 10 years figuring out how to create a profitable multiple six-figure practice and have now made it my mission to support other nutritionists in doing this as well through the Six Figure Nutritionist, my company. I want to make sure I can see this here. Forgive me. I did this by combining my education in business, 12 years in corporate sales before I even went on to become a nutrition therapist through NTI school, advanced selling courses, coaching psychology, lots of coaching certifications, guidance from my own business coach, and of course, the School of Hard Knocks, right? Figuring it out on my own, making a lot of mistakes, having a lot of wins, and then taking all of that information and packaging into what I believe is the program that helps people create profitable, scalable, fun, replicable businesses that actually allow you, believe it or not, it allows you to work less while making more money. And I did that because I left nutrition therapy school and I saw so many of us struggle trying to figure out how to do this, right? We knew we were really good nutrition therapists, but we had no idea how to run a business. And so many of us then just undercut and went in super low with our pricing, because then the hope was that, well, if I'm super low with my pricing, then lots of people will work with me, or how can I charge more if I don't even know how to run a business? I also saw a lot of people exit our industry because it wasn't paying the bills and it wasn't supporting them as a career. I saw a lot of people take it and then turn it into what I call a hobby, which is, of course, totally fine. But I also encourage those who are doing it as a hobby to either not charge or charge greater prices, charge higher prices, so we can raise the level in the marketplace rather than eroding it with it becoming like a commodity and price based. So I saw that happening and I felt like, okay, this is the time. A year ago, actually 3 years ago, I went and received another coaching certification. And at that time, I was like, when I'm done with this, I am going to teach other nutritionists how to do it. That's going to be my mission. And so it's taken me 3 years to experiment on other individuals that are not in our industry, to really get good with my coaching, to pull together what I believe is the secret sauce. Like, these are the things that you have to do, and then how to actually do them. I did that over the last 3 years, or actually 2 years, and then last year created Six Figure Nutritionist, and now am working with all of you. And it's been amazing to watch our industry grow and create businesses that will sustain the course of time, because you have the skill set to pivot and redesign as the market shifts and as your life shifts, right? Your business needs to support your lifestyle. So my program, I do combine mindset coaching with strategy. And I use a very systematic approach that focuses on how to coach yourself and coach your clients without having to receive a official coaching certification. How to create your niche, your branding, your marketing, your organization, and your systems and processes, product development and scalability. so that you can move from solopreneur to entrepreneur and then CEO, should you choose, which they are all very different things. So I'm happy you're here, and I hope you find this, what am I saying? This information on brand development valuable. I do encourage you to share with others if you think that they may benefit as well. So let's dive in to brand development. Don't you love how I use the old school whiteboard? And it's so I can move, because I like to move. I don't like to just share screen and go through slides with you. So why is brand development so important? Before we even get to these specific steps, I want to tell you that developing your brand is important because not only does it help you stand out in the market with your own uniqueness, it also helps people determine if they are interested in working with you. So think of it look this way. It's like it's your look and feel and determines how clients see you. And then it's going to help you attract your very, very best client and deter your worst, which, trust me, you want to do. Branding is also very psychological. So it has a psychological effect on your clients, or maybe those that you're trying to deter. So studies have shown that when a person sees a brand that is recognizable, so let's use Target in this instance, and it's consistent, it stays the same, it shows up year after year after year, then they perceive it, people perceive it as good and will recommend it 1/3 of the time, even if they've never experienced it. And it's not good. I was going to say, quite frankly, it's proven. Even if they've never experienced it themselves, and the company could be terrible. I don't think they would stay in business, but they might not be great. They will still recommend it. And here is why. Because the more times they see it, the more times the primitive brain, our amygdala, and I know because you're all nutrition therapists, you know, or holistic healers, you know what I'm talking about here with the amygdala. It has a chance to do an assessment to determine if it's a threat, it being anything. That is what the primitive brain does. It scans our environment, it makes decisions and calls based on whether it thinks it's safe or not. Is it a threat? So it's determining, like, over time, the more repetition, exactly the same, the brain is going to say, okay, we've seen this over and over again. It hasn't hurt us to this point, so it's good. And that's like the subconscious brain of ours that is just operating in the background. And this goes all the way back to the caveman days, where the brain's primary job was to keep you safe and alive. And we still have that brain. So in this case, with Target, let's say, and the bullseye, or I believe, I don't even know how many years ago, it was the white dog with the circle around its eye, the ring around its eye to represent the bullseye. The brain saw it over and over and over and over. No harm, safe, yes, let's go, let's shop there. This is also why chain restaurants are so successful, is because your brain, like let's say Starbucks, right? Doesn't matter what city or state or country for that matter, you know, the brain knows that it's always going to get the same thing. You like it and it's safe. It's not going to hurt you. And therefore, it makes the decision to purchase. This is what your brand will do for your clients. It's going to help you with your sales, and it's going to weed out individuals that you don't want to have conversations with and work with. That's why it's so important. So your brand, like I said, it's going to help you stand out in the marketplace. It's going to attract your very best client and weed out your very worst. And by the way, if you're struggling with this, just remember you do not have to work with everybody. I don't want you to work with everybody. I want you to get really good at saying no to certain people that are not your best client. Okay. So it creates safety. Your brand is going to create safety for your clients to help them make buying decisions. Your brand is going to speak to your niche. Now, if you've not defined your niche, that's completely fine. We're going to talk about niche next week. So I encourage you to show up or watch the replay. And maybe we should have even done niche before we did brand. Doesn't matter either way. If you are a solopreneur and you're just getting started, you may not even know your niche. And that's okay. I do want you having a broad spectrum of individuals to work with, because it's going to teach you who you want to ultimately invest in and market to. So for those of you who do have the niche, your brand is going to speak to them. It's going to become relatable to them. For those of you who do not have a niche at this point, it's totally fine. You're just going to still create your brand, and you're going to show up over and over and over again. And that actually over time might help you create your niche. You might be calling in a certain type of individual that makes it super easy for you to be like, oh yeah, I seem to attract these type of people. Well, maybe these type of people are your niche. So these are some of the reasons why you actually want to develop your brand. And then we're going to look at what is the brand for. So why and what? Now, the brand is so that you can then start to speak eloquently, directly with your niche. See how I did that in the first one of why? So it could help you actually create your niche, or if you've already have one, it's going to strengthen your niche because you know everything about your ideal client. That's a niche. You know how they think, they feel, they act, they buy, they look, where they play, where they invest in. When I say play, it's like, do they go to concerts? Do they do they travel? Those type of things. You know everything about your niche, and your brand will reflect that. What your brand is also going to do is reflect your prices without even having to communicate your prices. That's super fun, right? Because if you're constantly doing sales calls and you're always talking about your price, then there might be a discrepancy. You can look at that and you might be like, God, I charge a lot of money for my time, but I'm attracting individuals who are not willing to pay more than $20 per session. This is information that you can take and say, okay, well, what am I putting out there? Is it in alignment with expensive prices? Is it in alignment with inexpensive prices? So it's easy for you to make sales then. It's going to represent, your brand is going to represent you. Because in the beginning, you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur. Solo means you are doing everything. Entrepreneur means that you are starting to pull out and you've brought in help. You've brought in other practitioners, maybe marketing companies, SEOs, potentially even, a virtual assistant. An entrepreneur means that you are starting to pull out. So in the beginning, your brand is you. I mean, think about that, right? Now, when you become CEO, you have extracted yourself. And now the brand really represents the business, which is completely different. So we're not there yet, or maybe you are, and we can talk about that. For now, though, as a solopreneur and an entrepreneur, most of the time, always actually, the brand is going to reflect you. So what it also does is it creates consistency across the board. Remember, we talked about this in the brain with your marketing, your content, your language, your colors, your packaging, your social, how you're showing up on social media. It's super consistent and in alignment with your brand always, which the other piece of that, it's gonna, where is it? I'm gonna show you. It helps reduce decision fatigue. So when you go to do your marketing, if you don't have a brand, I just want to use this for an example, right? You're on Canva and you're trying to make an Instagram post and you're like, I don't know, do I want that template or that template or that template? And so now your brain has to make a decision. When you go and you want to private label your supplements and you don't have a brand, you're going to have to go out and you'll be like, does it look like this? And then does it look like that? And should it represent this? And what font do I want to use? All of that is taken care of when you create your brand. And so you only need to make one decision. Is it in alignment with the brand or not? If not, you drop it. If so, you go forward. It's a match. Reduces decision fatigue. It also helps you when hiring individuals. So think about this moving into the entrepreneurship and you start to hire practitioners. Do they match your brand? Can they reflect your brand? So they may not match your brand, but they can show up and reflect your brand for you, for the business. That is super important because I have hired individuals that were out of alignment with my brand and it doesn't go well. You're constantly trying to up level them through coaching. You're asking them to behave in a way that just doesn't work for them. They don't get it. So for example, Nutrition Works, now Whole Woman Health, we are very expensive. We are very exclusive. I require that my practitioners are put together. They show up. They have clean backdrops when they do their virtual coaching. They're not interrupted. They are professional. And for some women or some people, I usually hire women, that's just not them. They just don't get that and feel that. So it's unrealistic for me to expect them to show up that way. So it makes my hiring process for me super simple. It should align with the organization. Your brand should align with your vision, your mission, and your values of your business. And if you haven't created those, I highly encourage you to Google what's the difference between your vision, your mission, and your values, and do those because that's the core foundation of your company. And then from that, does your brand match that? So brand is so important. And I can't stress enough taking the time to do this exercise that I'm going to show you or work with me to figure this out. It is a game changer and it moves you from just showing up in your business and being a nutritionist to being an entrepreneur and a nutritionist and creating a business that is going to sustain and make you some money because that's what we need to do. Okay, so now let me tell you about why branding is something that it's not something you do. Like I was saying, you don't just show up and do it and then you come out like some of my practitioners I've hired and then you're something completely different. It's something you become. That makes sense. So think of it this way. I don't know if you've ever watched interviews with certain actors about them getting into character for roles. So what we hear them saying is that for these big, intense roles is that they actually had to become that character. They had to become that person. They lived it. They breathed it. They ate like that person. They thought like that character. They dressed like them. They acted. I mean, their whole being became that character. That needs to be the same with your brand. Because if you show up and you're representing one way, but it's not your true, authentic self, and then you go and live your life a totally different way, so incongruency, your client is going to sense that. Your client is going to feel that. And when that happens, it's going to turn on the spidey brain, right? Like the brain, their brain is going to be like, something feels off right here. And that doesn't feel safe. It senses danger. It senses a threat. It senses incongruency, not cognitive dissonance, but those three, right? It picks up on that. And it's so fascinating because just that alone can detract your best client. So when I say create your brand, and in the beginning, when you're a solopreneur and entrepreneur, it really needs to be authentic with you and in alignment with you and your beliefs and your values and your goals. And then when you move to CEO, it's a completely different story. So becoming your brand looks like, how do you look, right? How do you show up? How do you dress every day? Is your hair put together? How do you communicate? What's your language like? What are your philosophies and beliefs? That's a quick way to weed out some people, right? For us at Whole Woman Health, if there are a client's philosophy, not even a client, if a person's philosophy and belief is that holistic medicine is a bunch of woo and bullshit, quite frankly, that's not our client. Great. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to represent our brand as holistic and functional practitioners. I immediately get to weed out a whole demographic of individuals that we will never align with in the first place. What's your tone? Are you soft-spoken? Are you calm? That's not your tone, it's a feeling. Are you loud? Are you gregarious? How about your grammar? Like, I curse. Sometimes I curse a lot. I'm direct. I can speak really fast. I can also slow it down. How much do you share personally? So is your brand that you're friends with everybody on social media and you share everything and what you ate and your workout and your own individual lab tests and that data? This is all part of your brand. Or do you protect yourself personally and you really only focus on education, information, right? Keeping it super professional. So when you're creating your brand, you're thinking about it as you as a person, and then you start to become that individual. You become your brand. People are going to resonate and they are going to buy it. It's super fun. So for example, okay, with 6FN, Six Figure Nutritionist brand, what I want to represent is I am one of you. I still practice nutrition therapy. I know everything that you have gone through. I know your struggles. I resonate. I am one of you, but I'm also an example of what is possible. I want to be inspiring for you that it can be different and you can create a profitable, high grossing business. I show up professionally. Now with Whole Woman Health, I will show up on a run with no makeup because I want to be relatable there. It's different. I'm confident. I hold my clients accountable. My colors are neutral tones. They're soft. They're grays. They're tans, light beiges, light browns, blacks, whites, soft pinks, soft blue. I consider my dress mountain professional. So I'm not couture, but I'm also not showing up in Lululemon leggings and a tank top. So I'm kind of in between. I hope to show up healthy. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to make money, and I want to talk about that, and I want to normalize it and not make making money in our industry selling out or dirty. Our brand is emotionally regulated, right? So I'm deterring people who cry all the time and can't make decisions and play in confusion. And I'm attracting people who are confident, willing to do the work, can self regulate, want to learn everything, who want to work life balance, right? I'm direct, I'm honest. So this is all the brand of Six Figure Nutritionist. But then if we were doing a brand analysis on Whole Woman Health, Nutrition Works, it would look completely different demographic, different niche, different values, mission, and vision. This will take some time. This is a work in progress. This will also shift. Okay. Nutrition Works has gone through a lot of different hats. It's worn a lot of different hats and had a lot of different looks and feels. And now it just did it again. I mean, we just relaunched an entire new name, domain, website, demographic. That has completely changed. This will shift according to what you need in your life, what the market is bearing, and then how you evolve as an individual and a practice owner over time. I also think it's super fun, right? Because then it's like you are really looking at you and you're like, oh, yeah, I really want to speak that way. But I've been told I have to show up this way. It's like, no, you don't have to do it all. You just get to look at you and be like, what do I want? This is my business. I'm going to create it this way. I'm going to represent it this way. It's so fun. I think this is the most fun for me whenever I go through and I do an analysis on my businesses. Like, has any part of this changed, right? So if I look back to when I created Nutrition Works, oh my God, in 2011, so 10 years ago, I was a completely different person, which is why the business has evolved to what it is now. Because now, I mean, I was a 36-year-old and now I'm a 46-year-old. So completely different. All right. Here's my next piece of paper here. So here's some questions you're going to ask yourself. And obviously, right, I can't give you everything in a webinar because it would just take forever. So here's some questions I want you to ask yourself when you design your business. Okay? When you design your brand. Who do you serve? And when you think about who you serve, it's only your very best client. You don't develop your brand around your worst client, please, unless you love pain and suffering and not making money. Okay, so who do you serve? What message do you want to convey to them? How do you want to speak that to them to deliver the message? I'll just hit pause in between these, obviously, if you're going to write them down. I don't want you to, you don't have to answer them right now. Set time aside to really get into the entrepreneurial mindset. And if you didn't watch the previous webinar about how to become an entrepreneur in your mind before anything, go back and watch that one. Okay. What do you represent to your very best client? What's the look and the feel? How does it look and feel? When you're out there representing your brand, what would that look like and how would that feel to the recipient? What are your colors? And do those colors resonate with your brand, with your ideal client? How do you show up for your appointments? That's a huge part of your brand. Do you show up disheveled? Do you show up on the fly? Do you show up having just rolled in from a walk or a workout or a yoga class? Do you show up professional? Do you show up ready? Right? That all plays into your brand. How does your brand reflect your price? This is important. We've talked about this in the beginning. Are you expensive? Are you midline priced? Are you inexpensive? Are you free? Your brand, your language, your font, your colors, your communication, all of that can reflect your price. So these are just 7 questions. There's a lot more when you are designing your brand. And that's what I would take you through with the coaching program. Not only do I take you through how to strategically design your brand for the mission of your company and to speak directly to your ideal client within your niche, I, of course, then help you manage your mindset around it, because you're a human being and you have lots of thoughts around your brand. When you create a brand as a solo or entrepreneur, you are the brand, which means you are putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself out there for judgment, for people to make fun of you, to be questioned, to be said no to be turned down, or to be accepted. And if we go back to the primitive brain, the amygdala, being judged, being said no, being turned down, being kicked out, being rejected are all threats. And so if you don't know how to self-coach and you don't know how to manage your mind through what I use as cognitive behavioral therapy, though that brain is going to lead the path, that brain is going to facilitate action. And that action that's coming from rejection and fear is going to hold you back, and you're going to stop putting yourself out there. And if you stop putting yourself out there and put your brand out there, you're not going to attract clients. So you have to be very aware of the thoughts that are going on in your brain when you create your brand and then you go to deliver it and make it available to your best client. So here are some entrepreneurial brand thoughts that you can adopt. You can borrow them from me. So anytime you're like, ooh, I don't know. Oh man, that means I have to put myself out there on social media. What if people don't like me? What if they think my colors are ugly? Anytime you go into this, you're going to catch yourself and you're going to shift and you're going to borrow my thoughts. I love my brand. By the way, thoughts are optional. That you get to choose them or you get to reject them. Okay. So you're choosing these. My brand is authentic to me. Branding is important to the success of my business. I will use my brand to help me make decisions. My brand helps me connect with my very best clients. So you start to go here with your mindset. My brand is what? My brand does what? Okay, start managing your belief system around your brand to create clients, to create opportunity to make money, to create clients so that way you can serve people. It supports your mission in life. Like my mission for Whole Woman Health is to help women have better lives. My mission with Six Figure Nutritionists is to help nutrition therapists make and exceed 6 figures. Borrow these brand thoughts when you start to go into the negative downward spiral, because that will direct all of your actions, which creates all of your results. So I encourage you to please take the time to develop your brand, to love it, to work it, to massage it, right? To really look at it as an alignment with where you want to go in your business and to have fun with it and put it out there and let everybody see you and find you and raise their hands to say, oh my gosh, yes, I want to work with you. I totally resonate. Please help me. Please let me pay you so you can help me. Do this. And then if you're having any struggles or you're trying to figure out how this works in the overall picture of developing a 6-figure practice or even a 7-figure practice, or shit, even your first 50,000, maybe your first 1,000. If you're trying to figure out how it all pulls together, then I highly encourage you to make an entrepreneurial decision in the best interest of your business and yourself. Okay. And that means get help. Just like you didn't know how to do nutrition therapy, and so you went to school and you learned it to figure it out so you could help people, there are resources for you to learn how to be a successful entrepreneur, how to create a successful business. Specifically, I want you to work with me because I know your industry. I also am living it. We're moving to 8 figures, right? Like, I know how to make your first 50K and 100K and 500K. Like, I know how to do this. So there's 2 ways you're going to work with me. First, you can do one-on-one coaching. My contract is a 6-month agreement where we do one-on-one private coaching every single week. In between, we use an app called Marco Polo where we can send videos back and forth. So if you're getting hung up or you're getting caught, I want to make sure that you can reach out to me right away so I can support you. Okay, so it's not like we do a session and then goodbye, peace out, see you next week. You have me within my business hours. I have collateral material. So if you're hiring, we have NDAs and non-competes. I have marketing materials should you need them. I have disclaimers for online programs. So don't create the wheel, recreate the wheel. Just use what's already been created, right? You're going to get there quicker when you do that. Use your resources. I combined mindset coaching and strategy. So I coach you, I teach you, I coach you, I teach you. It has to be both. Just like when you're working with your clients, you are going to teach them maybe the autoimmune protocol for their Hashimoto's, but then you have to coach them on how to facilitate change and how to navigate change and how to create new belief systems. There is a psychology behind coaching. I want you to experience it and learn it so you can help your clients. To work with me privately, it's a 7K investment. My goal for you and for all my clients is when they make this investment, by the time we are done working together, they have made it back. So when they're ready to launch on their own, whether that's 6 months, 12 months, I have clients that have worked with me for over 2 years. They have more than made back their investment. That's always my goal for you. Everything after that becomes pure profit. The second way you can work with me is in a group setting. Now, we do have a mastermind that's in development. I just haven't been able to secure a location that I'm super excited about because of COVID, quite frankly. I was a little late to the game. So we might have to push that back until 2022, the beginning of 2022, just because I can't get on location. So meanwhile, I want to make sure that I serve my community, and we're going to do small group coaching. So 5 to 10 of you, we will come together. We will combine brains and energies, right? If you've read The Atomic Habits, you know that just by being in a community of individuals with the same goal, you are, 3 times more likely? So 1/3 of you will be more likely to succeed and hit your goals than if you were to do it on your own. That's good data. So it's the same format. We do 6 months together. We have weekly live group coaching. We have a Marco Polo group app that we can use to support each other in between sessions. Of course, the business development materials. Of course, it's mindset strategy, mindset strategy, mindset strategy, all leading to your own individual goals. We will max at 10 people because I got to make sure that I can do analysis on your business and be available to you in a way that helps you make your investment back. And that group program is 5K. So ultimately, what you are investing in is to figure it out. All this is the tangible. What you are paying for is to learn how to create a business that makes $100,000 plus. You are paying now for the lifetime investment of how to be an entrepreneur. Just like in nutrition school, you paid your tuition for the lifetime education of how to be a nutrition therapist. It's the exact same thing. So for 7K or 5K for the rest of your life, to ensure that success, money, work-life balance, profitability, scalability, all the things, it's kind of a no-brainer. Please reach out to me at sixfigurenutritionist.com if you would like to schedule a complimentary consultation to decide if we are a good fit and which one of these programs would be best for you and where you're going with your business. Please, if you've not signed up for our newsletters and you want more information, you can also do that on our website, sixfigurenutritionist.com. I like to give free information so I can serve my community. I want more successful nutrition therapists in the marketplace. We have a job to do to help heal people. I need to ensure that you can do that and you can take care of yourself financially. And also, of course, if you know anybody that would benefit from working with me or would even just benefit from watching this or any of the future webinars, send them a recording. Share the information. If we help each other out, we are all going to up-level our industry. We want to be pioneers in our industry. That's who I work with. Let's do that together. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week as we talk about how to develop your niche. Super fun. Take care, everyone.